The Chernobyl disaster was a cover-up of something terrifying. You probably heard about the tourism in the Chernobyl exclusion zone. I've been there myself several times, and it's nothing like what you see in the games or horror movies. There are no ghosts, mutants, or radioactive anomalies, and death isn't waiting for you at every corner. Actually, I think it's one of the most peaceful and prettiest places on Earth. An example of strength of nature and how it can reverse the damage that we caused it. When my friend Alexei decided to go there, he knew who to contact. He's a psychic student, and right now he's doing some kind of research on nuclear fallout. And he said that he wanted to get some direct measurements and samples, but we both knew that it's just an excuse to go on an adventure. We visited the old power plant, the abandoned city, and the surrounding exclusion zone. It was nice, but I probably would just bore you out with the details. That part is not important anyway. We were driving on some dirt roads in the forest, east of Promyjat, when we found it, an old, rusty fence and a chained gate that blocked any further passage. There was a big sign with the radiation hazard symbol and captioned restricted area, authorized personnel only. There was a pair of massive metal blast doors inside the artificially looking hill. Not far behind the fence was a large white O13 painting on it, and no entry sprayed on top. What do you think it is? Alex asked. I don't know. Looks like some kind of bunker, I replied. And it looks like it has been closed for some time, I added, after taking a closer look at the same doors. The both holes were welded shut in the center. Alex took his samples and readings, but we were too puzzled to leave just yet. Do you think we can get in? I asked. Well, not this way for sure. Even if it wasn't welded sealed, I'm sure we have no way of unlocking it, Alex replied, while examining the massive door. It looks like an underground bunker. They must have had a way to pump the air inside, and I don't think this is it. There has to be another way to get in, I said. We circled the main entrance to find other means of entry. The day was already coming to an end, and it's slowly getting darker. As we were searching, a thought crossed my mind. Why would they weld the doors? What's so important inside that they want this fall to keep people away? Look, there's something there. Alex pulled me away from my thoughts. It was a concrete block a couple of meters large, with what looked like vents on the sides. As I looked into the vents, I noticed that they were also sealed with heavy-looking steel hatchets and no clear way to open them. However, there was also a somewhat similar door labeled Service Tunnel, with a large wheel on the outside. Should I open it? I asked. Yeah. I really wonder what this is. Anyway, we don't have to go in. At least we'll see if the door still works. At first, the wheel wouldn't turn because of all the rust and dirt, but eventually it buzzed. The door unlocked. I pulled it slowly, started opening it. It was very heavy and took a lot of force. Behind the door, there was a small platform and a tight vertical tunnel with a ladder. What caught my attention was that there was an indicator-looking mechanism on the inside that meant that they could lock the door from both sides. But why? We were lucky because if they had locked it from the inside too, there would be no way to get in. I stepped inside and shined my phone light down the shaft. It wasn't strong enough to hit the bottom. The air was damp and old, and there was something that I couldn't identify, a very faint chemical-like smell. There was no radiation, nor signs of any other hazards. You got to be kidding me. This is cool. We have to come back here and check it out later, Alex said. I couldn't agree more. It was almost dark, and so we sealed the door and called it a day. We promised ourselves to return. I immediately tried to do some research when I got home. Unfortunately, with no success. I even tried to call Pavel, a friend of mine who knew the area better than me. Actually, it was him who brought me there for the first time. He couldn't help me either, but promised to ask around. I told him about our plan and asked if he wanted to go with us, but unfortunately, he was out of the country for a while. A week later, we packed our gear. We went on with it. We brought some rope, heavy flashlights, glow sticks, waterproof protection gloves, an oxygen meter, and a small emergency scuba tank just in case. And yeah, we're not stupid, so we told ourselves and our relatives and friends about our trip and when we were expecting to return. We closed the door behind us as we descended down the access shaft. We couldn't know what's down there, and we didn't want to cause a radiation leak or something like that. We eventually dropped down the concrete tunnel, which enclosed the air vents and some smaller pipes. There was absolutely no power and, and no lights. Good thing we brought our own. We followed the tunnel and reached another door, but this time it was a regular one, not the heavy bunker type. We went through the entrance, a room with 4 large air pumps and some electrical equipment and controls. The ventilation shafts split here into 2 larger ones that ran straight into ground, and 2 smaller ones that went straight across the room where there was another set of doors. Behind the doors there was a large hall, with numerous boxes, crates, and other cargo just laying around. There was also a security checkpoint behind the checkpoint. We found the main door, and we have seen from the outside next to it there was some heavy lifting equipment. We returned through the checkpoint and took a look at the set of elevators. There was a single map of the layout of the facility floor. By the floor we were on floor 0, main entry hall. There were another 4 floors below us. Floor 1, offices, security, and recreation. Floor 2, security laboratories. Floor 3, accelerator, clean room, determination, chamber. Floor 4, experiment site. The map was titled Object 13. It wasn't military bunker. This was a research site. We took a set of stairs, since the elevator were of no use without power. An unsettling thought crossed my mind as we descended. They probably were moving some supplies and then left them there and took the equipment to the main door. Were they trying to get out? I stepped on another stair step, but something rolled under my foot. I lost my balance and fell onto my back. My pack luckily absorbed the impact. I looked under my feet to see what caused my fall. Empty bullet casings. This wasn't the sole reason why I fell. Odd, but the place that as soon as we went down to level 1, I noticed that every single door was open. Every single one. There was a canteen and a kitchen right at the beginning of the large rectangular corridor. Various offices surrounded the corridor. There was the regular stuff. Paperwork, old computers, personal belongings, all right there where they left it. Did they leave in a hurry? Dimitri, Alex called from the canteen on the opposite side of the corridor. What? Was all I could say when I followed him to the canteen. There was food still neatly served on the tables, but it wasn't spoiled. It wasn't fresh either, but it wasn't decaying, as a 30-year-old meal should. How is this possible? I asked. I don't know. It was irradiated or something, but it's not anymore. I checked that. I really don't know, man, he answered, as puzzled as I was. Oh, why didn't we just turn back and leave? Now that I'm reading this, there were so many red flags already. Something really wrong happened down here, but I guess we were too excited and curious. But it was at this point that my excitement started to fade and be replaced with an eerie feeling. Nevertheless, we continued and descended down to level 2. The stairwell ended here, and to go deeper we would have to cross the entry floor to reach another one on the opposite side. There was a security checkpoint and a large black door that we had to pass through to reach the labs. Again, every door was wide open. However, the things that people left there weren't neatly placed where they should have been. It was a mess everywhere. There were all kinds of rooms with all kinds of equipment that I didn't understand. Occasionally, there were some more empty bullet casings on the ground. There was still that one central rectangular corridor as above, but the rooms around it was still a little maze. Almost at the other side of the floor, we found the head scientist's office. As I said, oh well, it was a mess, but I found a logbook on the desk. There was only a handful of pages, the rest torn out. Here are some of the ones I read. October 1984. Today was successful. Managed to transcapsulate several atoms without changes in any physical properties. It's going to be a long road until we can transport solid objects, but we're going to do some work here. January 1985. We managed to transport an apple today. However, I couldn't help but notice that the pattern of red and green on top was slightly different, but it was still the same apple, with the same structure, shape, everything. We also tried to transport some electronics. They were unharmed and the working order. That we still have a lot of perfect to learn about this technology, but we cannot slow down now. The country is relying on us. February 1985. After the animal trials, we transcapsulated our first human today. He is alive and healthy. A brave hero of our nation. We have proven that this technology works now, but it's still very limited due to the fixed translation of ratio. We still cannot send matter, only exchange the positions of two equally massive objects. I have promised a new type of device that could possibly achieve one-way transcapsulation of just a single object that would need an immense amount of energy. May 1985. Our superiors accepted my proposal. They were going to build a new, much larger transcapsulator here in the power plant, so we can use a nuclear reactor as a direct power source. There was one more thing. We now transcapsulated dozens of test subjects. Each one is alive and well. But sometimes they are a little bit, well, different. They seem to claim that various events in the past happened differently than they really did. Sometimes they claim to know people who don't exist, or more alarming, they know people who they are not supposed to know. Written below the pencil by hand, the test subject 28 was speaking an unknown language and couldn't understand any real language after the experiment. There was a lot of missing pages afterwards, but here are some of the other ones that I could translate. April 1986. We are going to try to change our approach. It's been more than a year, and we're still unsuccessful in eliminating the transcapsulation summary anomaly. We still don't know what is causing it, but we are going to make any progress this way. Today we are going to try to access the cardot reality instead. Even though Unit 2, the one we built at the power plant, is still new, we are going to use it for the experiment. Who knows what wonders are waiting for us on the other side. There was one last page in the logbook, and it was just one single phrase written again, 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 and again. We let them in. Hey guys, Band 6.7. I'll have part 2 coming out soon, so don't worry guys, stay tuned for part 2. The story is very exciting. It is supposed to be a true story, so I can't wait to see what happens next. I'm just as excited as you are, so stay tuned guys. Thanks.